set up on a decent spot. It's not gonna blind me. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna stream. Let's see. Alright, so I'm doing a big sweep through of. We're gonna do Dark Souls 3, Sorcerer Run, True Sorcerer Run, is what I'm calling it. Here are the rules. I have to use, the only attacks I can do are, I'm gonna see, I'm gonna do this until I run into some issues, but, starting rules, I start as the Sorcerer class. I can only use a melee weapon for critical attacks. That includes backstabs and ripostes. Can't use it for counter hits. I am aiming to get the Moonlight Greatsword. So yeah, well, when I get that far, we'll see what the ruling is on usability. Game. We still going? Yeah, we're still on. Enter. Switch here. That was weird. So right now I'm using remote play and into OBS for PlayStation to get this to capture the window, capture the video for this. I did order a capture card as well as a recording mic, so stream quality should go up once I get all of that stuff worked out. Yeah, so Sorcerer start off with the Mailbreaker, which has 125% crit, which will be good. I did a little bit of playing around for Gundir's sake, just kind of practice my parrying, since that's all I'll be able to use a melee weapon for. But I am going to be getting a lot of attunement and intelligence early on. Yeah, if I could do a riposte with like some sort of physical attack using the staff, I would. I wouldn't use the dagger at all. So here's the ruling on it. As long as I'm trying to go for the critical attack with whatever melee weapon I'm using, it's acceptable. gonna see me do a lot of, I'm not gonna be doing as much free aim stuff, probably, until I get my hands on the binoculars. I'll do it where I can, though. You know, I may not be able to kill the lizard with the limited FP that I have now. And seeing as they're a crystal creature, they're certainly not weak to magic, so damage is probably going to be lacking. With only... Oh. Controller's freaking out. Hang on. Yeah, that's another thing. It's a little tricky for me to stream, or it's a little risky for me to stream during the day because remote play relies on Wi-Fi, and remote play relies on Wi-Fi, and then, you know, streaming, uploading footage also, obviously. Oof. That's a big part of why I want the capture card, so that I don't have to rely on it. I can just do a direct line connection from the PS4 to from the PS4 to my laptop, and then just use Wi-Fi for the raw streaming function. Bad. That's fine. I have to come this way again, anyways. I'm gonna say plunging attacks are okay as well. If I ever do any weird controls with my camera, it's yeah, it's because my inputs are blipping out for a moment. So I'm streaming during the day. I've got some siblings at home and probably on the Wi-Fi. So yeah, we're gonna see how well this holds up. Hopefully that doesn't happen during a boss fight, but we'll see. Oh, I'm bad. No Johns. My inputs actually were getting eaten there. I'll have to see how pairing. I did a little bit of practicing just to warm up my pairing for Dark Souls 3 since I've been playing other games, other Soulsborne games recently. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this holds up. If nothing else, nighttime streaming should be will be my main means of streaming until I get the algorithm, at least. The capture card, at least, that is. Yeah, it'll help with the not running into input errors. Round 2, that's fine. I didn't want to get free damage anyways. It's kind of cheap. Let's try this again. Easy 400. Okay. Yeah, I always like to do a full clear of the area to grab the items and then just kill a couple of essential enemies. A couple of the enemies in the way just to get to Gundir's fight. That works. That'll help with shield enemies. It's also going to help with dealing with the knights. Yeah, that's a big part of why I feel the no melee weapons unless it's a critical attack. Because if you think about it, the sorcery class, you're given two spells, a staff, a parry shield, and the mailbreaker, which has a high crit ratio. So you could almost argue that this is, to a degree, the intended way to. Oh. Yeah, just safe. It's pretty safe to assume that if I'm, even right there, my camera dripping up. Yeah, we'll see how problematic the momentary lapses in input are going to be. Shouldn't be too bad though. That was a GameStop trade. I hear that's a joke. Man, let's see, when was the last time I went to a GameStop? GameStop, probably when Smash Ultimate came out. Yeah, I was there for overnight. That's another thing, by the way, the capture card will let me do. It'll let me stream Switch stuff, so I can do, so I can hopefully end up doing some Switch streaming, which would be cool. Only thing I'm really looking to. Where'd the other one go? Did you just run off the? Okay, I guess you just ran off the cliff. Cool. That's another thing that the game card let me do. Let me stream Switch. Off the top of my head, the only thing I could really think of, I don't have a lot of games on my Switch. Gonna be honest, I did mainly get it just for Smash Ultimate. Yeah. So I look forward to streaming that some. Doing some for glory or whatever it's called these days. So yeah, this guy is actually really bad against sorceries. This is going to be a strength build eventually, because like I said, I plan on going for the. I do plan on going for the Moonlight Greatsword, one of my favorite games across the Soulsborne series. And I actually do. I love how it works in Bloodborne. I think it holds up to the level of quality and innovation that the trick weapons offer. Ooh, let's see if yeah. So for the record, as far as my input variance is going, it is all or nothing. So either my controls are perfectly fine, or they are, or I have actually no control. My controller just doesn't. There we go. Second try. Easy every time. There. Yeah, so it's all or nothing as far as my control variance, my input variance is going. Oh man, hope it doesn't happen suck to lose my Ember this early. Yeah, just making my rounds. Standard stuff I typically take care of at the beginning of a Dark Souls 3 run. So with that shard, that's actually going to be really nice for this run in particular because it'll make it so that I can have 5 shard charges, so I can go 2 healing and 3 FP because I'm going to want plenty of Ashen Estus, even early, especially early on, even where there are a lot of little enemies. And I'm going to want to do some early leveling before I hit certain bosses, probably. Yeah, I tried going for, I tried going 1 healing and 4 Ashen, but as it turns out, with just the Soul Arrow and Heavy Soul Arrow, I can just use. It doesn't. I don't need that much Ashen Estus. Although I will probably be. That's right, you need 2 in this game. Although I will probably be making more frequent stops to bonfires, just to refill in Estus and FP. If you're, you may be wondering why I bothered to kill the master if I was just gonna sell all of his stuff. A lot of it's actually kind of really just habit, force of habit from other runs in the past. A lot of times I do like to do dex builds more than strength builds. If I do a strength build, it's for very specific weapons, although I do have more general go-to weapons in this game that are dex based than strength. So we're actually gonna go. How many attunements also? It gives me 3 attunement slots. I'm really close to being able to do another level. I may just buy Farandar. Farandar will actually be somewhat relatively useful because it will cost like no FP. But let's say, especially since my main attacks are going to be with my sorceries, having 3 levels of having a very small version of the spell that costs almost no FP will be really nice. Yeah. Should be everything. I want to frick. Okay. Oh, and one more. Well, besides updated stream quality, one more thing that'll be nice is I won't have to have one of these plugged into my controller. I'm sure I'll say this many times over the course of many streams, but yeah, I hate cords. I can't stand them. My headset's wireless. I have a wireless mouse and keyboard. I actually have to unplug all of those. How effective Dart's gonna be on. This is why I have Fairy Dart. Just for little finishes like that. I think dogs are probably just gonna take 2 soul arrows though, because one heavy soul arrow won't one shot. Really cool. These guys actually take a decent bit of magic damage. So, one little nitpicky thing. The only thing that really bugs me about the UI in Dark Souls 3 is that arrows and bolts, when you pick them up, they automatically equip. So, if you're OCD like me and don't like holding on to extra items, I don't know if I can aim that down. I should try to track to him. There we go. I'm actually not sure if... I wonder if sorceries can headshot. I'm not, just because I have, in theory, limited attacks. I'm not gonna, and because I don't get that many souls, rather than just being able to walk past them and R1 them in the back and just love tap them when they die. I mean, I guess it's extra soul efficiency, but should check cost, see if it. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to be as efficient as realistically possible. Yeah, when I first thought to do this, I would try out this run. I actually didn't realize how low FP costs are starting off. If you put really any points at all into your attunement early on, you will much less so notice the costs of your starting spells. Really not. I guess that's what this is for. I say we just backstab that guy. Making decent progress. This isn't a speed run, for the record. So, I probably won't do a lot of the purely, if any, of the especially since that archer wasn't, or the, I guess arbalist wasn't aggroed. Yeah. Mess with the mimic. I don't really need to, but nice. Huh. Got Estes back for one bag. And wow, that was a lucky drop. Getting Titanite shards this early from drops is... it's unfortunate I can't rail on. I wonder if... I don't really know how mimics react to range battle. Oh, don't. Actually, I didn't know that. I just... Alright. So screw. Little high maybe? Yeah. I just keep firing this lineup. Oh, eventually. I know what I should do. Tiger Run, so we come to these stairs, hopefully. Actually, just turns out, apparently my package got here, which is probably, should be the Elgato, which is pretty cool. So, the numbers, so that's, yeah, 92 versus, let's pretend that. Oh, really? Sure. So, what was it before? 12. That's weird. Oh, you know what? I think you get 1.5 times effective strength for two-handing. Never mind. Anywho. Yeah, interesting about the ropes, if you notice, if you look beneath the outer rope of the starting Sorcerer set, it's the same vest that Orbeck of Vinheim, the sorcerer, the sorcery merchant. It's the same vest he wears. So which actually kind of makes me wish that we didn't have this outer robe on. I mean, it looks very magely done, don't get me wrong. Whoa, buddy. Alright, come on. Said backstab. Should probably put the dart in between the two. Because if I use the soul, if you think about it, I'm more likely to not quite finish off an enemy. Okay, here, let me put it this way. So, heavy soul arrow, one heavy soul arrow does more damage than one soul arrow, and does more damage than one Farron dart. Two Farron darts does about half the damage of soul arrow, but while one heavy soul arrow does more damage than a single soul arrow, two soul arrows will deal more damage than one heavy soul arrow. So if I'm in a practical sense, if I'm choosing to use the heavy soul arrow versus just 2. If I'm choosing to use the heavy soul arrow, it's because I'm confident that it will kill in 1 shot, which will save out on a little bit on the excess FP that using 2 soul arrows would use. I mean, I guess I would ooh, that was close. It's probably the first time I've heard of these guys. Yeah, so I've got work. I need to head to work in about an hour. This stream might be a little shorter. I think I'll want to spend about that hour, especially if that's my, even if it's not the mic and it's just the capture card. I'll probably want to spend an hour setting up so tomorrow or tonight I can have so I can have these higher quality streams ASAP. We'll go back to Firelink, wrap things up. Go back to Firelink and spend some souls. Probably upgrade my staff. Will be good. In my own time, probably in between streams, I'll look into some of the specifics on which rings I want to try to track down. I usually end up getting all the rings I want without having to really look them up. Oh yeah, there's that guy. He uses the Soul Greatsword, which is neat. Yeah, it's one of the things I love about Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne versus Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1 is right out of the gate you're able to sell all of your junk, which I love that is a thing. Probably 2 levels, right? Yeah, 2 levels.
Well,
not quite 3.
Very well, the egg.
Ooh, that's really close. I'm actually gonna go. I'm trying to take him on, but that's one of the things that's gonna be probably a bit trickier in general is taking on non-standard enemies. Bosses and NPCs are gonna be probably the well. I mean, either I'll just be able to cheese, or just play the range game against the. Sorry, I've never really taken a good look out here. I don't normally come back out this way. Got lost in the view. Yeah, 22. That's nearly enough. I mean, I guess if I kill 10 of them, then there should be, at the very least, close. Really? Okay. Let's see. Times 3, 4,500. At about 100 per level. This should be about enough. It also bugs me to leave items on the ground. So even though I know it's a junk thing, broken trace, I'm gonna sell it, and I think it maybe sells for like 10 souls. Yeah, the number 2 comes to mind when I think of how much that sells for. Though it's probably a little more than that. Not much, but That was close. Hopefully this is
Ashen
enough for 3.
well speak. Very well. That take nourishment.
Oh,
Farewell, Ashen One.
quick soft reset. Can you? Yeah, no, okay. I was pretty sure I wasn't just failing that input 4 or 5 times in a row. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can do a jumping attack with this. Can't say I'm surprised they didn't choose to expand upon the physical attacking capabilities, the physical moveset. I can't. Or, I don't think I can lock onto these guys while they're sitting down.
Well speak. Very well. That take.
Okay. Yeah. Not that. We'll do this.
Farewell, Ashen.
I have no reason to really. I mean, I can use this for backstabs, and that's gonna be that the extra crit rating will be enough. Okay, well, we're gonna call stream here. This one was pretty short. How long? Only 40 minutes, just under. Okay, well, anybody who catches the VOD, thank you for joining. Thanks for checking it out. Feel free to follow. See you next time. Hopefully, better stream quality. It's new cat.